What's good, everybody? So 2022 is out the door, and tomorrow will start the new year, 2023. But this year has, given us as producers and beat makers quite a few, tools that have been helpful. And we've seen, quite a few different changes with companies this year. So I kind of want to talk about that and talk about some of the products that I think were dope that came out this year. And I want to talk about some duds that I think, you might be better suited to avoid. This is by no means an extensive list, and it's just my personal opinion. So with that, let's get started. So the first one I want to point out is Native Instruments 14, Complete 14, pardon me. That just came out this fall, and of course, you got 4 different versions that you can use. You got the standard version, ultimate, the collector's edition, as well as select, and each of these products have different number of instruments and effects that you can use to make music. And I think if you haven't updated in a while, you won't be disappointed in what they've included. This year the noteworthy addition seems to be the update to Contact, now in version 7. They have streamlined how you go and basically pick your sounds and navigate through the system. They have even added some additions for individuals who are interested in creating their own instruments. They've added some tools to make that feature a lot easier. Any of these additions I think are well served for a producer, beat maker to use and help them. Like, I think Native Instruments does a great job with the tools that they create. And so I definitely recommend that if you haven't updated, I would definitely put that in the plan to update. And if you're someone that's on the fringes, I would say check out the free version that they have. One thing about Native Instruments that I'm always impressed with is the fact that they give out a couple of free products every year that you can use to get your feet wet, see if you like the product or not. They have a good selection of free products. They have, I think, the complete free version. And a couple months ago, they just released a new library that you can use with 150 sounds to get you started in your beat making journey. So definitely check that out. Now, I would also say we've seen some changes with the company this year. There's been a merger with Isotope, and so you see there are a lot more products made in conjunction with those companies as well as they've merged. So this current version will probably get you access to some of those tools like Ozone. You would also get some tools from Plugin Alliance. So they're taking the Oberheim synth, some of their some of their mixing plugins. Those tools will be included in the software as well, and that's a new addition that we haven't seen with Native Instruments prior to, so that'll be interesting. And you still get a lot of the instruments that Native Instruments is known for. You just get some of these other products as well. On the other hand, RIP to Absinthe, because that is no longer being supported, which is unfortunate. Kind of expected, but Absinthe was a very good product. In some ways, for a time, it kind of competed with Omnisphere in terms of the fact that you had 3 different oscillators to work with to build your sound. You could do FM, you can include samples to a limited extent, you can do granular synthesis and come up with a lot of different tones and drones and soundscapes, if you will. And that program unfortunately is no longer supported, but there are a lot of tools within the Native Instruments family that will kind of meet that need, and they have done so, especially with these new player instruments, in a very streamlined fashion. So I think this is a good update, and I think it is well worth exploring, so I would check that out. Next on the list, I haven't talked about UVI that much at all this year, but UVI has, been a staple in the music industry for a very long time, and they have their own collection of products that you can use. This year, they have also decided to go the way of subscription. So you can take advantage of tools like Falcon the newly updated Vintage Vault, as well as some of their effects plugins, sample-based instruments and whatnot. You could do it in the subscription, or you can still go ahead and get that perpetual license. Now, pardon me, I haven't spoken much about Native Instruments, but there is the free UVI workstation that you can download. You can put your own samples in there and get started, using that as a host, if you will, to combine and layer sounds. They have some really good products. Also, again, they just came out with Vintage Vault, and so that is essentially a boatload of different instruments that have, my word, pardon me, I had to pause. Yeah, they have a boatload of different vintage instruments that have been recorded, classic instruments like the microwave from Waldorf, some your Fismo from Ensoniq, Synclaviers, Moogs, the SY77 from Yamaha, and a boatload of other instruments. Now, these are all sample based, so what they have done is they have recorded those instruments, the samples thereof, and then they have put them in in this format, making it more easy to use for the user, so that they can go about creating their music that they want to make. And this update, I don't think, if you're someone that's into making music that way, you're somebody who wants those sounds, you don't necessarily want to go spend a lot of money on the hardware to try to capture that sound, or you're just someone who doesn't, you might even have those instruments, but you don't want to take that stuff with you and be bothered with carrying all that equipment. You can have this format here, carry it on a laptop, and get access to the texture of those sounds, and get busy with making music. And yeah, it's fairly expensive. It's $600, but I mean, bang for buck for what you're getting. It's not a bad deal. If you're someone that has if you're someone that already has an older version, you could upgrade for a discount. So, and you can integrate this in. If you have Falcon, you can integrate that together as well. Falcon just came out with an update, 2.8. I don't know all of the features that are in Falcon, but it is a alternative to the renowned Omnisphere, which is also very much considered to be an industry standard when it comes to plugins and instruments. So yeah, man, this might be an option for you. And again, they have the subscription available now, so if you're curious about those products, you can check them out. Now, next one I got is Arteria. Now, Arteria, this year they have updated their whole suite collection to version 9. They have given us some new pianos. They've updated a lot of the instruments from the older collection. They now have included their augmented voices and augmented strings, which combine different combinations of wavetable, sample-based synthesis in a very easy to use layout. The virtual piano has been updated. They've also provided a new piano. Arteria doesn't disappoint, because unlike UVI, where UVI primarily runs on samples, Arteria tends to replicate hardware through physical modeling, so you get more of a hands-on feel, being able to program some of those sounds from the ground up and kind of get the architecture of having that synthesizer, if you will, without actually having to dump out thousands and thousands of dollars for a Yamaha CS80 or a Mini Moog. So that's always a plus. And this year they have given an update to Pigments. They've come out with Pigments 4, absolutely free for Arteria Pigments owners. So, and yes, I have a video of that on the way that I'll be posting as well. And yeah, man, Arteria, in my opinion, is another company that does not disappoint. They've also done some updates to their effects unit as well. So if you're on the fringes about taking advantage of the effects suite, they have that available as well. I don't know if they still have the same promotional sale going on that they had back in November. So if you're someone that wants to wait, I would definitely say wait. Try out some of the products, demo it first to see if you like it. They do a really good job on their demos, and they're very liberal, if you will, with how they go about letting the user be able to, try out those plugins without restrictions. So I would definitely check that out. Now, good old Reason Studios is the next one. Now, Reason has, we've been waiting on Reason with the update, and they finally given us the ability to use VST3 inside of the DAW. Bravo, Reason, bravo. But I will say in the meantime, they've done a great job with adding some of the plugins to the subscription model. And of course, if you're someone who wants to just try out the plugin or just buy the plugin without using the subscription, you want a perpetual product, you can do that as well. Right now, Reason has a sale going on. You can take advantage of a lot of their products, including buying the DAW or getting access to the subscription itself. Save 30% off, so that's a plus. And yeah, man, they have done a good job with products such as the new chord sequencer. I did a video on that back in the summer. The chord sequencer does not disappoint. I checked it out, and I can honestly say within a couple of minutes of just messing around with some chord progressions, I did a song in like, a couple minutes. So the chord sequencer, in my opinion, does not disappoint. And keep in mind too that you may not like Reason as a DAW, but you can also use it as a plugin, and you can take advantage of all the players that have been built in, all the effects that have been built in. So I would recommend, taking this for a run. If you're a Reason user, you can do a trial for the rack extension for 30 days, absolutely free. Or you could take advantage of one of the promotions and get your hands on the subscription, and this is included in the subscription. So I would definitely check this out. I keep messing that up. I apologize. I have to pause intermittently. Next on this list is Reason's vocoder that also came out this past year during the summer. And again, this is another one of those products that when it came out, I was kind of on the fringes about like, man, when are we going to get a new instrument? But this does not disappoint. It is a very much welcome addition to the Reason rack. And the cool thing about using this vocoder in particular is you don't have to do a lot of routing. I did a video on this showing the advantages between using this vocoder versus using the other vocoders like Parsec or the standard vocoder that was included in the earlier versions of Reason. This will allow you to you can record your vocals, and then you can just stick this on the audio and start working through the presets or work through, the different modules and whatnot to change the sound and, just get a different feel. Again, it's on sale, 30% off, $70. Definitely would recommend it if you're someone that does a lot of different vocal work and want a different tool to process your vocals and get some different effects out of it. Again, I would definitely explore this. And again, with Reason, you have 30 days. 30 days to trial it. And if you like it, you can go from there and buy it. Or, again, you can use it in the subscription. So check it out. Next, going into the hardware side of things, we have the Synclavier Regent. Now, this was advertised on, I think his name is Lupop. I apologize if I'm messing up the name. I should know it better because I watch his channel a lot. And, this is a cool gadget. For those who don't know, Synclavier, made their synthesizer line back in the late 80s, late 70s and 80s. And, it was one of the gadgets at the time that gave you the ability to do additive synthesis and FM synthesis and sample-based synthesis all in like one box. It housed the famous, Michael Jackson beat stab that you could hear in the beginning of the song that was made on the synclavier. And you know, the drawback to it was super duper expensive. It's like, you know, over $20,000. So most people were not going to afford that. Fast forward to 2022, now we have this machine, and it replicates and brings back a lot of that technology for users today, but in, you know, a more affordable package. Thank goodness for technology, you know, coming along the way it has. So you know, you can control your harmonics, you can control your samples, you can do FM. I mean, this thing is very feature rich. I don't know the price point of it, but this is definitely one that I would take a look at, and you know, be on the lookout when it arrives. There you go. A couple of these people have already done reviews on it. So this is one that I would definitely keep an eye on if it isn't out already. Yeah, it'll be awesome when it does come out finally. So yeah, I thought that was a big one in the hardware space, and I'm excited about that one. Next on the list, I want to talk about Roland. Roland came out with the Phantom O series, and so the O series is a stripped down version of the Phantom, the big edition of the Phantom. And so you get most of the features and access to the Zen Core engine, and you get some supernatural sounds as well. You get the touchscreen. I think it's cool that they put a lot of the knobs and the parameters on the front of the keyboard, so that, you know, if you want to make adjustments, you can kind of do that in front. You get that tactile experience. Roland has always done a great job with the sounds. So if you get a product like the Phantom 06, you won't be disappointed in terms of its capabilities from that vantage point. You won't get the wavetable synth that they added for the new Phantom. You won't get that. That's exclusive to the Phantom. As a matter of fact, my understanding is that the wavetable synth won't even play on the Phantom 06 or any of the O series, just because there are differences in the hardware. But overall, in terms of having a good keyboard with high quality sounds, and, you know, having a streamlined workflow to, you know, do your sampling and create sounds and make music, and kind of have, you know, some of the features of a workstation, the Phantom 06 will definitely get you there. And it has a really good price point. You can get the small version, the 06, which is the 61 key. You can get that for about $1,600 prior to taxes. So that's not bad. You know, it's definitely worth checking out. And then on the other end, I did a video on this one back in the summer as well. Kai MPC 61 key. And yeah, you know, this one definitely made some noise when it came out. It's about $1,900. You get all of the sheesh. You get a bunch of features with this keyboard. I think they did a really good job in terms of what they've included. You get more RAM than what's on the MPC sampler units alone. You also get more instruments. So the pianos, the strings, the FM synthesizer, you get Fabric XL, and those are very much a nice welcome addition. All of that stuff is included in the MPC Key 61 version for free. And you know, they also gave, like, the MPC users, you know, 1, Live, and X. If you have those machines, then you also have the ability to buy those sounds and load them into the MPC and use that. So that's a plus. But if you get the 61 key, everything's already included, and so you get the best of both worlds. You get that ability to sample, chop up stuff and make your beats that way, but you also get a nice little line of instruments and high quality sounds built in, so you don't necessarily have to reach for the Triton, the Roland, the Yamahas if you don't want to. Akai really did a good job of making sure people were able to go get everything they needed inside the box, and that was smart by them. Big ups to Akai for putting out this machine. One day I might get it. I'm content with my software, but yeah, I would definitely check this out. All right, lastly, because I gotta wrap this up, my voice is starting to crack, I'm gonna talk about a couple of misses this year. Unfortunately, in the realm of making, plugins, sometimes we have a couple of, missed marks, and that's okay. So in this case, one of the bigger ones that came out this year, pardon me, was Kyle Beats Sandbox. And, I won't go into like all of the crazy stuff. Shout out to DJ Ad McCree. Yeah, man. Shout out to DJ Ad McCree because he put the spice down. I'll say this: I got the email back on Thanksgiving, and I, checked it out, looked at it, read through the stuff, and one of the things that was concerning to me was there was no way to actually buy a perpetual license. They wanted you to buy a subscription, and so I said, let's wait it out. And I'm glad I did. As I read about it, I wasn't necessarily super duper impressed, but then the fact that everything was subscription based only and you don't have the ability to buy the license, because maybe want to hold off on it. And so I checked out a couple of the videos and didn't do too great. And one of the concerns I had was even folks who didn't hate the product. I think actually this gentleman right here, he kept noting that the plugin would just shut down just randomly. You get started making something and it would shut down. The other part that was kind of noted was that it really wasn't a melody generator, it generated chords. And so, not to be nitpicky, but if you're not someone that's into music theory or just knows the basics of music, there's a difference between the melody line and a chord progression. And that just worked on chords. The other thing they mentioned from DJ Ad McCree that was noteworthy was that, and the other gentleman here too, but the effects, this thing was really driven by the effects, not necessarily by the sounds themselves. You had to put a bunch of effects on it to make it sound good. And one thing about sound design, you need your effects, and that is definitely a part of the polish, but it should not be the main source. And if your plugin or your product is too effects driven, it can definitely begin to eat up a lot of your computer's resources. So I'm glad that they kind of took this off and said they'll go back and fix it. I hope y'all didn't spend a whole lot of money on it, and if you did, I hope you enjoy it. I felt like for what they were offering, that's any wavetable synthesizer, and you can slap on Instachord or Scalar and get to work and probably get a better set of sounds. You would be better served if you were looking for a wavetable synthesizer. You would be better served getting Sector from Initial Audio. You can get that. That's usually always on sale. It's usually for a good deal, and they really don't disappoint when it comes to the sounds they have. It even has a built-in sequencer that you can use. And yeah, man, hopefully these guys will come back and go to the drawing board, figure out what the issues are that didn't work, and make a better product. All right, next, Sound Doctor. Now, I don't know. I don't have any problems with Unison Audio, and I don't necessarily want any smoke with them today, or any day for that matter. Again, I respect any company that's trying to go out here and provide a product that people can use. Unison Audio, my problem with them per se would be, the price point and the marketing of some of their products. Like, last year they came out with Drum Monkey, and they they did the sale where they said, hey man, we only have a limited number of licenses. Get this now, you can get it for $300. And I know a lot of people jumped on it, which was unfortunate because, you know, it's supposed to be able to generate drum tracks for you. It was $300. Around that time, I did a review on a free product that would allow the user to generate chords, generate melodies, generate drum lines, and even generate a voice, male or female, for free. You could even type in the lyrics that you wanted the voice to say, and it would spit it out. And that was done for free. So one company was doing it for free and giving you a boatload of features. Another company was charging you $300, almost the price of a synthesizer at that point. And, you know, you can debate on whether or not it was good. You know, that's all contingent on the user and their needs. But yeah, man, this year, same deal. Sound Doctor came out, and again, you know, it's a fairly pricey product for what it does. It's an effects chain, and you know, as you can see here, you click on the presets and you'll get different sounds that you could use. You can even put in different effects, if you will. So it looks like we got reverb right here, we got echo, you can put in noise, put in chorus, you add the filter. And so, you know, again, I like the GUI. I think that's very interesting. Not something I would fork out $300 for. And we can argue about price points. Again, you know, any developer has the right to charge or list their product at the price that they choose. That's them. But man, there's so many different options available at this point. And consumers of these products, you know, I would just say keep your options open, because if you, for the price point of what you got for this, if you paid for it, you could have got this for free. And I talked about this in my other video, the essential effects from Kilohertz. You get EQs, bit crush, channel mixers, chorus, filters, compressor, delay, distortion, dual delay, dynamics, ensemble, filters, flangers, format filters, frequency shifters. I already talked about this in one of my other videos. So you get almost like over 30 effects that you can use, and you can mix and match these however you want to. You can include it in one of their host plugins as well, so you can download that. Yep, snap-ins, and you know, you can arrange these however you like to in the snap-ins host, or however you want to as an effects. So it's definitely there. And this is free. You don't have to pay a dime. So, you know, again, a company is free to list their price how they choose. That's up to them. And, you know, just a difference of philosophy. Nothing right or wrong about how either of these companies work. But if I'm choosing, I'm going with something that A, will tell me exactly what it is and what it does, and this is a free product, and they're not pressuring me to buy the product on the premise of FOMO and questionable statistical data. All right, shout out to Unison and shout out to Kilohertz. Lastly, I want to talk about Waves. Now, Waves, their sampler was kind of a big deal when it came out. At least in my neck of the woods, I saw a lot of people jumping on this product, and I did an overview of it. The Creative Sampler is a very good product in my opinion, especially if you're someone who doesn't use, you know, Ableton software. If you're someone that has Cakewalk or, you know, FL Studio, or even, you know, Cubase, any of those products, or any of the free softwares, and you want a good sampler to handle your samples, the CR8 does not disappoint. And you know, they got it on sale, $19.99. and it's usually always at a fairly low price. I picked it up for 20 bucks myself, and it comes with a lot of samples as well as a sample host. So to find all of your samples, arrange them and organize them, and when you want to get to it, you just load this up, load up the sample host, and it'll find everything right there for you. It's not perfect, but for the price point, this is very capable. And so big ups to Waves for, offering this out. And you could do a lot with this product. So I would definitely check it out. So yeah, man, that's all I got for this video. And I apologize for the blips and clicks. I had a couple interruptions. Thank you for bearing with me. I appreciate you in 2022. And I'm looking forward to see what 2023 brings for beat makers and producers on the technology end. And yeah, man, you guys, y'all be safe. Happy New Year's. Enjoy your family, your friends, and all that good stuff. Peace out.